like that, I don't know. But I do know that if you get listings, the buyers will come. If you take listings and you're listing focused, the buyers will show up also. You're right, Jake. Sometimes we get buyers and they're just buyers, and that's fine because they don't have a house to sell. They've not bought a house yet, however that works. And we'll take them, of course. And, that's usually typically one transaction. But if we find a seller who wants to sell, we hopefully help them sell and then help them buy. So that could be two. Then your sign's sitting in that yard for at least 30 days. Right now, sitting there a little longer. So that means sign calls, and you can potentially pick up more buyers. And we hope that for every listing you take, you pick up 3 buyers. Like that's what we would hope. I think that's in the book, or if, that's just what was always taught to me. So for every listing you take, you can potentially pick up at least 3 buyers. And so if we're using it correctly and leveraging it right. And so that's why we want listings. We want listings. We want our sign in the yard with our name, our phone number. And so the way we get listings is we got to have leads. So that's not what this class is about. That's a lead generation class. That's another day. However, when we do get a seller lead, now what do? Someone calls and says, I want to sell my house. Or you run into somebody saying, yeah, I want to sell my house. My mom wants to sell their house. Someone's going to sell their house. You kick in and go, okay, now what? Great, I can help you. And then what are you going to take? What are you going to say? What are you going to do? What happens next? Because the moment they reach out and say they want to sell is it's go time. Now everything you say, everything you do shows them what an agent you are and how this transaction is going to go with you. Now, if you're just starting out, you're like, I don't have any processes, Brandi. So I'm glad you're here. And even if you're like me, I've been tweaking my process for 7 years. Because every class I go to, I pick up a new thing. I'm like, oh, I really like that. And then I'll kick something out, or I kind of, after doing it enough, I'm like, okay, that didn't really work, or like I said, I'm in a class, like I've got some stuff, I've got all kinds of stuff for you today so that you can hopefully be exposed to some things you can put in you got to have something when you show up. You don't want to come empty handed when you go meet these people. So the first thing you would do, a lot of times you're going to get a phone call. You're going to run into, it's either going to be a phone call, a text, or something. You're not going to knock on somebody's door for the very first time and walk in ready to list the house. Obviously, there's a conversation that happens before that. So that's why I grabbed, and now this is the pre-listing, the questionnaire. It says the Rutherford group because I got this from our bold coach, Amber Rutherford. She's out of Tampa, Florida, and she runs a top-level millionaire MREA team. And so she shared with us, so some of this stuff will be hers. And so that's what she uses. So instead of reinventing your own, now we can, white out her name, put your own name up there. You could retype this or you could leave it the way it is. So then what happens is you're on the phone or someone calls you, I want to list my house. Okay, cool, great. Let me ask you a few questions first. This is where you have these ready to go. You have these questions ready to go. Let me ask you a few questions first. Because I don't know, like if you're like me in the beginning, nobody showed me that there was some questions. So I just kind of showed up and go, I guess I'll figure it out when we get there. And I would bring a whole bunch of stuff because I didn't know what I might need. And I figured out really quickly that it would be a lot easier if I would ask them some of these questions before I showed up. So, okay, great. Whose house is it? Did you inherit the house? Is it in your mom's name? Did someone pass away? Is it in your name? You got to find out whose house it is, get the address, all that stuff, get their phone numbers if you can. And when they're ready to sell, they will answer your questions. Don't ever feel like you're pestering them or bothering them. They want to sell the house. They don't know the process. They're trusting you. It's kind of like when you call the doctor, when you call the attorney, when you call any professional, they might ask you a list of questions. Okay, they're just doing their job. So I know sometimes people are like, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to ruin this. I don't want to talk myself out of it. No, this is part of it. Yep.
So you go in there with
It's true, because you're not prepared, right? So get as much of it as you can. You know, ask them, why are they selling? When it sells, why would you want to know when this house sells, where are you planning to move? Why would that be a good question to ask? Yeah. Are they going to buy local or are they moving out of state? It's kind of good to know, because if they're going to stay local, we want to know, we want to tell them we can help them with that too. Because believe it or not, you cannot assume that people understand what we do. You can never assume that people know that we help people buy and sell. Sometimes people are like, oh, I thought you only sold houses or listed houses. I didn't know you could help buyers too. Yeah, I can't. And you're sitting there going, are you serious? You can't say that. You're like, absolutely. And sometimes you don't know that because you just think it's a given. And for most people, it probably is. But what's the ideal time frame for getting you there? Why would that be helpful? Hey, Jake, I want to sell I want to sell my house. Can you come out? I want to sell my house.
Oh yeah, I sent them over the listing questionnaire, but I have the same one in there too.
Yeah.
Where are you trying to go and what's your time frame? Because then that'll figure out when we're gonna list the house.
Right. So if I say, oh, yeah, we'll probably sell like late summer. That changes things, doesn't it? It like where we had the horses running, we got the car, you know, the car's warming up and we're ready to go. And they're like, oh, next summer. Okay, well, we're going to back it down a notch. Okay, we're going to slow it down. And it's good to know. So we're not trying to make an appointment for, you know, 6 p.m. tonight. Yeah, there you go. Why is that important to you? Right. Because that is also true. Like, that's exactly right. Because if you say, well, yeah, I just want to get moved before the next school year. So if we could put it on the market in July, that would be fine. Well, no, that would not be fine. That will not get you where you want to be by school. So you're right. It's good to ask these questions to get in their head where they're at with it. So there's some things here. We won't go through but it's good to have some kind of pre-listing questionnaire. Helps you understand, yes, you're going to go look at comps. Yes, you're going to go look up at the neighborhood and the house, but it's also good to know about the seller, their motivation, their timeline, what they need, what they're trying to accomplish. Because Jake's right, they may or may not know what the heck they're talking about or what they're doing. They may think they do. They may have their Uncle Bob telling them, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. And it's good to know that Uncle Bob's advising them. And then we can go, well, God, you know, whatever we're going to say. Well, I appreciate Uncle Bob. You know, may I give you another perspective? So having some kind of pre-listing checklist or pre-listing questionnaire is going to be important. Now, let's look at, and I think I gave you all of them. Let's look at, now the ones that look like they're spiral bound, they are, because this came out of the Bold book. Then where the one that says listing presentations, you're going to need to go out and see the house. You're going to need to go bring a listing presentation. Now notice it has two boxes. There's a one-step listing presentation and a two-step listing presentation. One step means you're going to go out to the house one time, meet with them, get what you need, and the next time you go out there, you're bringing the sign in the lockbox. It's on the market at that point. That's a one-time, one-step listing presentation. Sometimes, and that's obviously, you can see the pros and cons. Those are faster. There's less time for other competition, other realtors to show up, and time for more appointments. So time for more appointment. I don't know what that means. Okay, maybe that's what it means. Then the cons to a one step is that too far apart on home value. So sometimes if you think the house is worth one thing and they think it's worth another and they don't agree with you, and you may get one shot and they're like, you know, we're going to go with someone else. We're going to list, you know, whatever. Guessing on behavior and the house surprises you. So if you've never seen the house before, sometimes you get out there and you take a look around and you're like, whoa, we are not ready for market. So, but if it's a one time, like this has got to go. So sometimes a two-step listing presentation is going to be better. There are pros and cons to that, but it does slow things down a little bit. You get to go out and like, hey, let me take a look at the house. Let me meet you. Let's talk through this. We do a one time, like get to know you kind of appointment. And then the next time you go out, you get, you know, you kind of get more things ready and firm before you go on the market. So, it doesn't matter. One's not right, one's not wrong. It really depends on the client. It really depends on you. I will tell you, from what I know, Lonnie's a one step kind of guy, a listing agent. He's going to go out to the house one time. Now, I'm sure if there's a special circumstance or a special client or something like that, he'll do whatever it takes. But he would prefer to just, and he's done this so long, he doesn't need to go out more than once. He'll go out, he'll tell you, let's do this, this, this. And then he also has a team that supports him in that. So that's kind of the difference. And you can, not that you have to figure that out. Do I want to be a one step or a two step? But and sometimes I've gone out to places 2 and 3 and 4 times before it ever goes onto the market. It just, whatever the house and the client requires. Sometimes you're meeting contractors out there. You got to have the roof replaced first, or you got to have some contractor come in and replace the flooring or whatever it is. So, yeah. Yeah.
What it makes me think about, one of the questions we have on our studio thing, which actually helped me recently, with what do you want most from your realtor? Like honesty, responsiveness, for the negotiator.
Yeah.
Because that, I was looking here when it talks
On the
about.
back of their page.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. On 12, so what are 3 things you expect from an agent?
Yeah. I kind of like, because when I think about that, if you get this, them to answer this first,
Mm-hmm.
then you go out with a strategy for presenting. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It's true.
They're all about negotiation and they want to win, then I'm going to bring data that's really going to be quantitative. Say, here's where this is, here, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's more, I want a good listener, or, you know, whatever, then I'm going to, you know,
Sure.
this just makes me think of that, how important that question could be on, because you could prepare a bunch, you and I know this, brand new educators, you can prepare a bunch, but if it's the wrong type of learner, they're not a numbers person,
Mhm.
and you're gonna bring a bunch of data that's
Right.
gonna be, they're not even gonna be interested in that.
It's true.
So I think that's a really critical question.
It is. It gives them insight into who you're talking with, who you're dealing with. Um, I also, these are some great questions, and maybe if we have time, we can dig into them a little bit, because to know the why behind it, not just ask the question. Because if you don't understand the why and you're just asking the question because it's on the sheet and you get an answer and like, okay, well, it helps us know, create a plan. So when we are going in there, are we dealing with a high D personality? You're going to be able, no, that's the DISC, DISC, those personalities are super, super important. And we're going to do some training on that probably next year. But if you're dealing with a high D personality that just wants, you can kind of, they feel like they're cutting you off, they're giving you short answers, they're acting a little irritated with your questions, or they're very confident when they know what they want. Match them. Don't, you know, match where they're at. Or if they're into the numbers and they're like, well, you know, this, that, the other, I was looking at Zillow, I was looking at this, I was comparing this, I was looking at all this data. Okay, they're going to want data. Match what they want. Because if you show up with all that data to a high D personality, you're going to get fired before you ever get hired, because they're going to go, I can't deal with her. I can't deal with him. I need someone that's going to come sell. Are you going to sell my house or not? Kind of thing. And there are people out there that are like that. And it's nothing personal. That's just what they want. That's who they are. But at the closing down here, so when you're reading through these questions and you get down there, you need to be comfortable. And maybe you practice this out loud a few times. But hey, if everything I say makes sense and you feel comfortable, are you ready to complete the paperwork and put me to work at our appointment Thursday? That's letting them know, like, hey, I expect when I show up that we're going to work together. So if you feel comfortable with me and everything that I bring with you, are you ready to fill out that paperwork and put me to work? That's a close. You're starting to close them already and you haven't even seen the house yet. So picking up little phrases like that are going to help you. And don't feel bad. Say it. Like, learn to say that, you know, and it will, because here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. And this, I just heard this at the ALC clinic I just went to. Jake was there. And I don't know if it was the leadership portion or the other portion. I don't remember. It all kind of blurred together for me. But Gene Rivers, who taught the class, he is an OG. He's an icon in our industry. He's been doing this for almost 40 years. And he said, and I thought this was kind of good. He said, when you go meet somebody and you're sitting at the kitchen table, first of all, make sure you sit at the kitchen table. Don't sit on the couch of doom. Don't do that. It's hard to hold papers. It's hard, ladies, it's hard to know how to sit. You know, are we crossing our legs? Are we leaning back, leaning forward? Like, it's just awkward. And then you got to hold papers and you got to share papers and you got one sitting over here and one sitting over there. Try to get to the kitchen table. And I've been to kitchen tables that are full of crap. Well, let's move the crap. If you can sit at the table, sit at the table. That will make a difference. I've done one listing presentation because there was no table. I did one and it was awkward. It was hard. I had literally one was sitting in this chair, one was sitting in that couch, and I'm sitting there going, and it was not, not good. But what he said was, he said, if they offer you a glass of water or a bottle of water, take it. And if they don't ask you if you want any, ask for it. And he goes, why would that be? And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, first of all, I kind of get grossed out drinking out of people's cups and out of people. I'm like, I kind of do, so I don't know. And he said, whether you drink it or not, ask for it. He said, because here in a minute, you're going to ask them to do things for you, like fill out your paperwork, get you the keys. You're going to ask, you want them to get ready to already say yes to whatever you ask them to do. It's kind of a subconscious thing, a little thing. Ask them for a glass of water or a bottle of water. Okay, it must have been during the leadership part. Another thing that he mentioned, now Gene Rivers is if you ever get a chance to go to one of his classes, you need to go. He's a high D personality. And do you remember he kept going, yes or no? He would say, yes or no, we need a listing packet, yes or no? Well, yes, and we want to make sure that we go and take the listing, yes or no? We're like, yes. So you're programming your people to say what you want them to say. It's a strategy. It's a whole thing. So we were picking up on, well, he did that for 2 days straight. That's just how he is. That's how he talks.
384 times throughout the day. Yes or no?
Wow.
And sometimes it would be no. Sometimes he would go, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I'm like, a good thing? He's like, no, it's a bad thing. Sometimes we'd get it wrong. But that was just how he talks, yes or no. So anyway, another thing he would say is when he goes and looks, don't go look at the house. A lot of us, we go look at the house first, like, hey, why don't you show me around? Don't do that. First of all, it's a big time sucker because they're going to show you and tell you the history of everything and everyone, whoever lived there, it's going to be a long time. Now, some of you, like myself, I've done this. I'm like, well, I'll just build rapport while I'm going through the house. And, here we are 40 minutes later, we've completed the tour. Now we're sitting down. He doesn't do that. He says, you know what, let's kind of go through some paperwork and let's even decide if we're going to work together. Because if we're not going to work together, I don't need to waste your time looking around the house. And so that kind of sets the stage already. The sellers may go, whoa, you may not want to work with me. What do you mean? And it kind of puts them back on their heels a little bit. Let's decide if we're going to work together first before I take a look around your house. And then when it is time they are going to work together, he's like, you know what? Let me just do a quick peek. I'm in houses all the time. It won't take me very long. I can kind of do a quick buzz through the house. And in that way, he likes to be in and out in like 40 minutes or less. Now I probably take a little longer, but.
So the first thing he does is
Oh yeah.
butt kiss him for
Yeah.
5 minutes or whatever.
That's true.
Then he does poop.
That's true. You do a little schmoozing. Tell me about your kids. Tell me about your grandkids. Oh, your dog, you're this, you're that. Definitely make friends and build that rapport. And then you can kind of earn the right to be a little more direct. It works really well for him. So I would just say, find your flow, find your rhythm. Hear all these things that other people are doing and say, what's going to work for me? Because I promise, if I take something that Gene Rivers says and I say it the way he said it, they're going to look at me and go, you are an idiot. Because I'm not Gene. I don't talk like him. I don't act like him. I'll tell you an example. I have an aunt. She is, I don't know if you've met Steve's wife, Sandy, my Uncle Steve, the one that coaches with Doug. My Aunt Sandy, she's 15 years older than me. So she was my fun aunt because she was young and she'd always carry me around. Like I grew up with her. And she's so fun and she could talk to anybody and she's one of those real people that big personality and just everybody loves her. And I remember shopping with her one time when I was 16 and somebody was stocking the shelves and they said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Here, let me get out of your way." And she's like, "It's okay. If you were in my way, I would just knock you over." Something like that, make a joke, haha. It was hilarious. I'm working at Walmart. I'm the stalker wearing my Walmart, 16 years old, and someone says something. I'm like, "Hey, if I'm in your way, you just push me over. It'll be fine." And they looked at me like, "Oh, I would never push you." Like it didn't land. I was trying to do what she did and it didn't work. I'm not her. I don't have that personality. And I was like, "Oh, I know you wouldn't. I'm sorry. Here you go." They don't, and however she did it and it was hilarious. I'm like, "That's so awesome." And then I try it and it wasn't very awesome. And so I had to learn. That was like a big eye opener going, "Okay, I have to be myself," and so, but anyway, so that's that was a couple little tidbits I picked up from Jean this week. And because we do want listings, we want, when you show up, what are you bringing? Now, Jean, here's something else Jean does that I don't have today. So I'll tell you what he does. He prepares a pre-listing packet. Now we're doing listing and seller packets, but he does a pre-listing packet. And what he does is we would have to there's, it's kind of like this class. There could be a whole bunch of stuff that goes in that, but he has a whole team to help him. But he puts together this pre-listing packet, tells probably a little bit about him, his team. Maybe there's this little questionnaire in there, but he puts a seller's disclosure in there and some step-by-step instructions of what comes next. Amber Rutherford, who's the bold coach right now, what she does, she has a pre-listing gift that they drop off before the appointment. And in her bag, she has a gift bag she ordered a sticker with their logo on it, stick the sticker on the gift bag, 2 bottles of water, just bottles of water, a pack of microwave popcorn with a little cutesy tag that says, "We're popping with excitement to see you on Thursday," or whatever day. And then she puts 2 little mini payday candy bars in there. And that's it. And so she's like, "What now? The cute popcorn, the water, it's just a little something." And then the payday, she's like, "Why payday?" She goes, "First of all, it's Florida. You can't do anything chocolate. It will melt. But also just a little subliminal thing. Let's get you paid." And she pops that in so Jean Rivers and Amber, they take it to the house prior to the meeting. And she might put some paperwork in it too, but you take it there ahead of time, or you deliver it to their job. If you know where they work, you take it to their job. And then people are like, "Ooh, who is that?" If someone shows up with a gift or something and "Oh, that's a realtor that's gonna, or that's the realtor team or whoever is gonna meet me to sell my house." And then it starts, "Oh, really? Your realtor came to your job? Like, that's kind of cool."
Sell our house too.
Exactly. We're wanting to sell our house. So it exposes you to a whole new office of people. And so it kind of sets the stage. And so let's say in the pre-listing packet, okay, prior to the appointment, you somehow got them, whether you mailed it, whether you drove it by their house, whether you took it to their office. And in there, it told them some next steps. Here's the seller's disclosure. Fill that out. We will need a house key from you. Some things that you're going to need. We'll need to know the utility information, that kind of stuff, and put that in the pre-listing packet. So guess what? When you show up to the listing appointment, and this is the first time you've seen them and the first time you've seen the house, and you see your pre-listing packet laying on the table with a set of keys on top of it, guess what? You got the listing. Unless you totally blow it, they're ready to list with you. That does a lot of your job and a lot of your work right there. That's a good sign. If they filled out the seller's disclosure, they've done what you asked them to do, you pretty much got it. You just need to finish, take the ball to the goal line. Let me find it. He didn't share that, but I think I can get it from either an old class or we can even Google it maybe. But I like the idea. And I think at one point I had one and I didn't follow through with it. So I don't use it. I love the idea of it. So yes. No, Gene, Gene Rivers. He's out of Tampa, Florida. Tallahassee, Florida. Well, he's out of all over Florida because he owns 7 market centers down there. So he tells the story. He's doing all right. Yeah, I know you're worried about him. He actually owned a Remax brokerage in Miami, and that was prior to Hurricane Andrew. And Hurricane Andrew wiped his office out, his house out, every listing he had. Like he lost everything personally and business wise during Hurricane Andrew. He had to relocate to his parents' garage with his wife and 2 little kids. And they lived in a garage in Tallahassee in an area they knew nobody. And they had to reinvent their business, relaunch their business. And I don't know how long ago Hurricane Andrew was. Obviously, it was pre-internet, pre everything being online, because they literally lost their business because their Rolodex of database blew away. But anyway, and so he knows what it's like to be new to an area, new to the and what it takes to rebuild. So yeah, if you ever get a chance to hear him, it's great. Also in that, that I gave you the little, that looks like a spiral bound on the other side or next page, trial close examples. These are other things that you can say while you're there. This is an important decision you guys are making that you are making to list with me today. These are presumptive closes. These words matter. I'd like to walk through the house on my own since you won't be here during the showings. That just assumes I've got the listing. I'm gonna be the one to handle that. There you go, through the eyes of a buyer. Absolutely. So there's some things you might be able to say, but then I've handwritten in there. These are things, details matter. So on your way to the listing appointment, get in the zone. If you need to, whatever you do to kind of get your mind right before, go do that. Maybe you need to rehearse and you need to practice your listing presentation. Don't practice on your people. Practice ahead of time. Even if it's grab a friend, grab another agent. Can I run through this with you? Time of arrival is super important. If you have an appointment at 3 o'clock, what time should you be there? 2:55 and no sooner, no earlier. You can be there at 2:55. I wouldn't ring that doorbell till 3 o'clock. It's like she said, because a lot of times if people, especially if they have kids, every 5-minute counts. If you ring that doorbell 10 minutes early, we haven't got the kids squared away, dinner's still sitting on the stove. I can do a lot in 10 minutes and it'll be a little bit chaotic. Don't take my 10 minutes from me. I'm going to need every bit to shove the rest of that stuff in the closet, get your house ready. So park down the road. Yeah. And pull up. Absolutely. Yeah.
Drive by and I'll go down the street where they can't see me.
Yeah.
And I park on another road, because I'm always afraid, and it's just not in real estate, but another appointment. It's just trying to know the area.
Yeah.
If I get lost, my GPS took me to the wrong side of Independence one time, so it's 25 minutes different. Luckily,
It's true. It happens. So make sure you arrive on time, and I would knock on that door maybe 1 minute prior or the exact moment. Hey, we had an appointment at 3 and it looks like it's 3. So what do you say we have a chat? What you wear. This was interesting. I hadn't heard her say this. What to wear to an appointment. Always think about your clientele. Think about who you're meeting. Hopefully you know them, but maybe you don't. Maybe they were a referral and you hadn't ever met them yet. Well, first of all, hopefully you've looked up the house. You kind of get an idea of what the house looks like, at least from the outside, and the neighborhood. Like all these clues might help us. And you dress maybe one step above what you think they will be wearing. So if you're going to, forgive me, like a house in maybe West Belton, I'm just going to pick a place, and you go there, that's fine. You might not want to show up in a 3-piece suit or a, business. Why not? Intimidating, non-relatable. And this person doesn't get my life. They don't understand me.
Yeah. I worked out in Pleasant Hill selling insurance. I wore a tie every day. I noticed people they're like, what's he trying to sell me? And so I stopped wearing a tie and people were more relaxed around.
Yep. So people pay attention to what you're wearing. Hey, Sandy. So try to wear one step above what you think they will wear. Another thing, if you're going to go list a house in high-end Creekmore, Loch Lloyd, some really nice area, maybe dress up, maybe look nice and professional. Don't show up in shorts, yoga pants, Crocs, you know.
I think they're-
Yeah. After you got the listing, after it's under contract. And then also knock, don't ring the doorbell. First of all, knock. It sends a different, anybody can ring the doorbell. A lot of solicitors ring the doorbell. You're not a solicitor. You're there to, and then also maybe if there is a baby sleeping or if there is a dog or whatever, maybe they won't hear it as much as you don't want to upset the whole place before you walk in. And then you ask, may I come in? Ask them, may I come in? Again, you're wanting them to say yes. Yes, you want them to say yes. Ask, would you like me to take my shoes off? You can please ask. Please don't assume if they've got their shoes off that you need to take your shoes off. They may be fine with it, but just ask, what do you prefer? I'm good either way. So ladies, that reminds, you got to remember if you wear sandals or open-toed shoes, cool, they look super cute. But if you got to take off your shoes, now you're walking around somebody's barefoot, which I think is weird and sticky and weird. And is that better than, some people find it very disrespectful when you wear your shoes in their home, especially, I learned this the hard way, Asian cultures. There's a lot of cultures, but the Asian culture, they take their shoes off at the door. Always, almost always. So I learned that the hard way as I'm going through this house, and there's a whole bunch of, I think there were 3 generations of people that lived in this house. And it wasn't until I was halfway done with the house that I realized, I'm like, oh my goodness, my shoes are on, and I didn't get that listing. I won't say that's why.
But I just think it's so unprofessional.
I know.
No, I'm not a shoe picker, offer no judgment, but I just think it being really short, that doesn't, sometimes I like to have a little bit of a heel, so then I walk around my socks.
booties on. So, that's
Or maybe you could bring your booties. If you keep some in your car, you could do that. Then you look like scrub tech, like you're ready for surgery.
Yeah, it's Americans are like the only two things wear shoes in the house.
Probably. So I just always ask, would you like me to take my shoes off? Something, oh, it's fine. We don't care. Okay. And then it's up to you. You can decide. But if they have their shoes off, I might go ahead and kick mine off, and they're at home chilling. They're not there to, yeah. But some people feel very strongly about that. Very strongly about that. Right. Right. Okay. Yep, absolutely. And that's something to take note of when you're in the house. If they are a shoes off kind of people, make sure you put booties in that house when you list it. You provide the booties and a place for them, maybe even a place for them to sit and a trash can or someplace to put them in. Think that through. You can get them at Home Depot and Lowe's, Amazon, the real estate store, KCRAR.
There's no extra large ones? Yeah, the ones at Lowe's, because every other ones are like for a women's size 7, and they don't fit on my feet.
Well, then they'll fall off
It's a big-
Stacy's feet.
They get the painter ones, and they fit everybody's feet, sorry. That's just a thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think the thing behind it is to continue asking them, can I come in? Yes.
Yes.
Would you like me to take my shoes off? Yes, I think that's the.
May I have some water? Yes.
I think that's the.
Yes. Yes. We want them to say yes. Yeah.
I think the point was we're training them to say yes.
To answer
or
yes.
no.
Well, yeah, and if they say no or we don't care, then you can choose whatever you want. Take them off, Okay, so that's that. This I've given you, no, I haven't given you, okay, the one things I have given you is like, okay, now what goes in your packet? This is like the meat and potatoes of the packet. And I brought mine. And so when I show up, this is what I bring. And so you need to have something with you. Now your packet could be digital. Maybe you're a total tech guru. I was gonna say tech geek. That's offensive to the tech geeks. But you could have your presentation on an iPad or something like that. I like to have paper. I'm a paper person still. And because I also want to leave it with them when I leave. Now I could email it to them, but it's just not the same.
I'm young with a 22-year-old, put in one piece of paper.
It's true.
But
It's probably true.
even a 52 or 62-year-old, yeah, would probably just kind of knowing your audience, I think
Yep.
is important too.
It's true. So depending on, I don't do the pre-listing packet. I would like to. I'm not there. I'm not there. I don't have that leverage in my life right now to be able to do that. So I'm showing up to the house with all my stuff. So in here, I'm going to, on the left side, rights and lefts are tough for me. I don't know why. I know, but now it's like this. So which side is it, Jake? It's on my right, but it's your left. So on this side, and I put the exclusive right to sell, and I put a seller's disclosure, because those are the two things you really need. Well, this is the exclusive right to sell is what you need to take the listing. And then the seller's disclosure, I include it to either leave it with them or, just kind of, I do leave it with them no matter what. I'm not going to sit there and let them fill that out. But I don't want to leave that appointment without the exclusive right to sell. So I'm a dot loop girl and I like everything done on dot loop and digitally, maybe except for this. Do not leave the house without getting this signed, because what can happen as soon as you leave, they go out and check the mail, run into Bob and Sally from next door and find out, yeah, I just met with a realtor. I'm gonna sell my house. Well, you need to use my realtor. She's been doing this for so long. She's this, that, the other. And all of a sudden, you just maybe lost. By the time it took you to go home and type this up on dot loop, you might have just potentially lost the listing. This, not very long, because I know the agreement, I know it, and I'm able to hit the highlights. I'm able to go, this is what this says. I can read it to you or I can hit the highlights. What do you want? Everybody wants the highlights.
Lawyers, they only want to make, I'm gonna sell your house for you, turn into 8 pages.
There you go. Exactly. So that's kind of, it is a good idea if you don't know your contracts to know them really well and give them be able to look at it upside down. And that, again, that's a teacher thing that you pick up. You have to have when you have to learn how to read upside down. And then you point and talk and tell what the highlights are.
Instead of having it on paper,
Mm-hmm.
and I have it on my thing and I just share it with them.
There you go. So you had a pre-filled or ready to go.
Except for like, I'm not sure on that, or the date.
The dates, the
Okay.
price. Yep.
Right there, and then I can go. that
And
way.
then go ahead and sign. You can do in-person signings on your iPad or you email it to them. That's not a bad idea. You go, you know what? Let me send this to you. And if you're an iPad or have a laptop, you could say, you could do that and say, let's do a practice run through. Let me make sure it got to you and I'll show you how to do it. So so they know how to sign and you can walk them through it. So there's benefits and beauty in both as long as you freaking get that thing signed.
I have a lot of people get frustrated because dot loop's not working. And they're like, I don't see it, I can't get it signed, and then I lose the deal because I can't get them to sign.
Right.
Whereas if I do it with them, it helps.
That's great. And dot loop every now and then does get little hiccups. Dot loop gets little brain farts. It really does. And it won't be user error. And sometimes it is user error. And you're trying to talk these people through on the other end and you can't see it. And they're telling you one thing. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But so I like that, but it may not be a bad idea to have one of these as a backup just in case dot loop is acting a little weird. Yep.
Feel like, I need each of your emails.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you one, but I need each of your
Yep.
emails.
I'm like, oh, well, she signs everything for both of us. I'm like, I can't know that. However you sign is however you sign, but I have to send it to 2 places. I know, right? Hey, if that's how you do it, don't tell me about it. Just, because there are places, there are wives that sign for husbands and maybe vice versa. Another thing I have is my seller presentation, and this has taken me a long time to get to one that I like. And so I will tell you, so I went to Etsy and I bought a template on Etsy. I think we paid $6 for the template. And then when you buy it for $6, they send you a link to download the template in Canva, and then you can edit it and make it your own. And so that's what I have done, and that's what I like the most. And so I kind of hit the highlights. I don't go through all of it, but if they're a high C person and they want to know all the data, we're going to go through every page. And if they're a high D person, I'll be like, well, I brought this for you. I'll leave it if you want to read it. If not, it's okay. I haven't.
Love their stuff. It's a little easier.
Yeah.
But it's got all.
However,
that are really sharp looking and they're
Cool.
cheap. It's cheap, and then I didn't know if it was legit. This is before I even came here full time. Like boom, there it showed up in my email. I'm like, huh, okay, it is. Then I just download, then I own it.
Yeah,
and it's in
you
Canva.
own it, and it goes to Canva, and you can edit it. Okay, good to know. So you can put it however you like to put. Again, all these details matter. How do you want to show up? And so I've put mine for now, it's bound like this with just one of these little combs, and we could, we have these in here in the office and a machine to bind the. Now I could sell you the combs for like $1, just to recover with, or you could buy a box yourself. But yeah, we have the machine. Seller presentation. Yep. Or a listing presentation. Huh? You can see it. Yep. I will tell you, I noticed the back page has a blank page, which I don't love. So I'm going to fix that when I'm done. But what could go there, you can put one of these things. I could rework this. So if you see, this can go in your packet if you want, the 3 outcomes. So in the 3 outcomes, one of the 3 things will happen next after you list the property. Number 1, the property receives little to no showings. The property receives little action. And it kind of shows you that we're fishing here, right? So if the property receives little action, that can only mean one thing, that the market is rejecting the price of the property based on price. Buyers and other agents recognize value when they see it. Well, hello, sweet girl. Come on in.
Sweetie,
There's your dad.
you are.
There we go. We got grandma, we got daddy. This is a fun place. That's all right. So the 3 outcomes is a good thing to include because it will help you with get your price reduction. So if it goes on the market and you get a little action and little to no showings, people aren't even coming to look. Our bait is in the wrong spot. We need to do a price reduction. Yes, I can. I can share that electronically, and it's in color when I share it. Number 2, the property has showings but no offers. So in other words, the property is the bridesmaid but not the bride. This is better than the first outcome, yet it's still frustrating for the seller. In this case, the price is close enough to the market value to attract a showing, but it's still too high relative to the competing homes to motivate a buyer to act. So you need to reposition the bait by making a smaller price reduction. Or the third outcome, the property sells. If we hit the market just right, we may be fortunate enough to have an offer right away. A quick offer does not necessarily mean that we underpriced it. It means we are fortunate to hit the market at the perfect time. It's like catching fish on the first cast. It happens, but it doesn't mean that it will happen again and again. So do I have your permission to sell your home quickly? Yes. Please sell my home quickly. You don't want someone to say, no, I think I'm going to sit here for like 95 days. So so that I could probably rework something like that. And now the way mine looks, I went for a different look. So I may not put a fishing analogy in mine. I have to rework that if I do that. Here's something else you can also include, and I can share this with you. This is a 2-pager. But when you are meeting with a seller and they'll say, well, what are you going to do to market my house? Where you're like, well, I'm going to put a sign in the yard and I'm going to put it in the MLS. I mean, I tell people about it. Okay, great. And they're gonna go, well, so-and-so, the other, Jenny from Century 21, she's gonna post it on like 300 websites. Well, fantastic. So am I. You know why? Because when you post and you put your listing into the MLS, it feeds all these places right here. So you can show, and it makes it look like you are doing it yourself. You don't have to tell them that it auto populates and it auto feeds. You can just say, yes, this is what we do. We get it in front of as many buyers as possible. So this may be, I've got this in color. I will share that with you. Absolutely. I can share any of this in color. I just didn't print in color.
Give one of your people one of these.
Mm-hmm.
How much do these cost you to make, roughly?
I made it here. So 50 cents, $1. Like I did use on the front and the back, I used cardstock. So I will tell you, I mean, if you don't care about that and you just run it off on color copies, okay, it's whatever the color copies cost you at 15 cents a page. So whatever, I didn't add it up, but I will tell you, Joanna Rangel asked, she called Cass Gazette and asked them what it would cost to have one made. He charges $10 to have it professionally printed and bound, $10 each. And she was like, no, thank you. So that's why I don't mind, because I do want everybody to have one, and I have one for buyers too, and it looks similar. You can order them on Amazon, or I have some that I could sell you for like $1 each. What is it? Or does it blow bubbles?
There's not.
What do you say? New batteries. Okay. Perfect.
Because it's got so much what you're talking about, makes me think of that, the templates that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So then you just fill it in and print it off and saves you a ton of trouble.
Exactly. So if you're ever in a time when you're like kind of in between, you've done your lead generation, you don't have really much to follow up with, and maybe this is time to sit down at your computer and design your listing presentation, design your buyer presentation. And starting with a template is a great way to start. Find one you like, and then you can add stuff to it as you want if you don't like it. And here's the other thing you got to be careful about with templates is that they're nationwide usually, and you may have somebody that, they don't use title companies, but they use an attorney to close. You have to, so if, don't put if it talks about having an attorney and meeting at the attorney's office and this, that, the other, okay, we don't use attorneys, we use title companies. So you'll just have to watch your template and make sure that it's what we do. And don't put something, when you're doing a template, read every line, because you don't want to promise that you do something that you don't even know what it is, or that you don't do. If you don't,
I don't even initials. I don't even know what that is. So I took it out.
took it out. Yeah, just take it out.
Sounds cool.
It's a template. And that's why I have this up, is to show you that there's a template in there. And I have helped, I've used that a couple times to I've emailed that, I will say. It's not my favorite, but it's something. It's something. And I helped an agent one time who shall be nameless, showed up in a tizzy one time going, Brandi, I just got a call to go list a house, and what do I take? I'm like, what do you mean? What do you take? She might be, but she's not, or they are not, or he is not. But what? No, it wasn't you. But no, this was a little more urgent. Like, okay, cool. I can help you with that. When's your appointment? In like 15 minutes. Oh, goodness. Where's the house? About 12 minutes away. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yes. And so she's like, well, I could be they are like, I could be a few minutes late. Anyway, I pulled up the agent kickstart, edited it in less than 5 minutes, hit print, put it, she bought a folder, she threw in her card, she printed the exclusive right to sell, and went out and took the listing. She got it. Yeah.
So in bold and then start bold.
Yep.
They have a pretty powerful. And I love me a good PowerPoint, but I just don't know. I don't know how effective it is to do a PowerPoint. That seems to be like it feels a little lengthy for me.
Yes, I would agree with you. And so I think you should kind of like hit the highlights again and just read the room. If they're into it, I don't. I don't go through a PowerPoint.
The big screen set up, too, like that's a whole audio visual sort of thing.
And that's how she wants to show up. You don't have to be that. You don't have to do it that way. I don't. I promise you Lonnie doesn't. I'm not,
Our goal. So I was just like, oh my, it feels
no.
like too much.
You don't have to. That may be their comfort zone. Jake, you take your iPad. Do you do anything digitally on that or just the contracts?
Tell me, PowerPoint, they have, prep for like buyers and stuff, like first time buyers. I've noticed it's a lot more useful on that versus like a seller that's sold 5 houses before. They don't
Like
want
a first time buyer, maybe.
yeah, to go through the process of it. And that kind of helps whenever I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be nervous, this is gonna go quick, and it goes through the little like PowerPoint thing. But I haven't ever done it on a seller.
So my whole point here was to show you what I do. Oh, here, let me also give you these. I got some more. So did I print that? I printed that here. I printed that this morning. It came off that printer right there this morning. Now I have about 10 buyer packets ready to go. I didn't have any sellers. So I'm like, I hit print. The first two, like this one's cardstock, and then that's just the paper out of there.
Is it really?
But I think it's ink. It's so much ink on both sides that it makes it feel smoother or whatever. Yep. All right, so what I'm going to give you here, now you can choose to use these or not. This one here is from Amber, the Bold Coach. She gives this out. Frequently asked questions. She puts this in her pre-listing packet that she sends. I guess this is what she sends with the bottles of water and the paydays and the, and then there's another team out of Springfield. I don't know if you're like me, that you want to see what everybody else is using and what they like and what do high level teams do and what do, so there's the Grady team. They're out of Springfield. They're the highest producing team of any brokerage or any team in Missouri out of Springfield. And I was like, wait, that's a lot of business. But here's what they put. They put this in their packet, and it's 83, was it 83 things? 83 things that they do during a process of selling someone's home. And so they put that in there. They show all the things that they do because most people don't tell what you do. And so if we don't tell them, there you go. That's true. And so if you don't do something like this, then people think you just put a sign in the yard and you just hope there's a buyer that comes. They don't realize you're doing things behind the scenes. If we don't tell them and we don't educate them and the house isn't getting showings or isn't getting offers, then they probably wonder, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think a lot of those things came out during the NAR lawsuit settlement that we had to justify. We have to justify our commission and what we do. So you can decide, do you like these things? Do you not like these things? If you start adding all this stuff to your packet's going to be this thick. And of course, that's not what you want. So you kind of have to decide, but I would, what?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. 45 minutes, start to finish. Kiss the babies, do all the things, schmooze a little bit. Yes, shake the babies. No, don't shake the babies. So do all that. Yeah, look to be out of there in 45 minutes. If it takes an hour, okay. I wouldn't want to go over an hour. I was overhearing an agent, again, doesn't matter where, doesn't matter who, doesn't matter. But I overheard this person say, I know, they just kept cutting me off. I wasn't even through my presentation yet. They just kept cutting me off. And I was like, in my head, and I wasn't a part of the conversation. So I was just listening going, oh my goodness. And this person said, I still had at least another hour of stuff to go over with this person. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, like, first of all, read the room. If they've already filled out the seller's disclosure, they've done what you've asked, they put the keys on the counter, they're ready to go, just jump to that part of the jump to that part. Talk about what you got to talk about. And their experience will go better and so will yours. Now, if they're long-winded and you got to learn some skills there, how to keep them on track, how to, like, hey, and sometimes I will go in if I know this person's a talker, because we all know talkers and they don't care. They'll stay for all night. We don't have all night. I usually go in and go, we have an appointment at 3, which is perfect because I do have to leave right at 4, but that's plenty of time. We can get through everything we need to get through. And I've already set the stage. I'm leaving at 4, or I'm leaving at 3:45, or whatever time you choose. Why are you smirking, Glenda?
One of them was, and I haven't told you, but I knew her.
Mm-hmm.
Story. She's telling me stories, and it was a long,
It's hard.
long.
Yeah.
But you know what? And maybe it's because of my age and because I'm not with her. I sat there and listened. I let her talk.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, one of my clients is like, I don't need all this crap. Just show me where it's on.
There you go. Love that.
10-minute appointment.
Love that. I love it when they say that.
Yeah.
Here, sign right here. Yes, Jake.
Say on the here, sign right here, I have found that if I don't at least go through some of the bullet points, say, hey, while you're signing and then set the expectations, then my close rate is not as high, especially like with buyers. If I don't show them like, hey, you're gonna feel overwhelmed, you're gonna feel nervous, you might have buyer's remorse because this goes very quick. If I skip that part, sure enough, the first contract we get, they freak out and back out.
In that situation, because this guy I'm talking about, we're getting ready to start our 4th.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It is situational.
Yeah, send it over.
yeah.
End of explanation.
And that's why
That's what he.
it's just really good. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why it's good to read the room. It's good to have a few scripts up your sleeve that you can pull out when you need and just keep the thing going. So, all right, what is, as in the last few minutes here, oh, by the way, and Jason, I don't know if you've been in the agent kickstart yet. No problem. So when you get in here and there's database 1, the module, if you scroll all the way down, and there's this thing called downloads. When you click downloads, let me get rid of this. Okay, then you go here and you can see all the things that you can download that she gives you access to. And one of them right here is a seller consultation. And so you could click on that, and this has been downloaded a few times, so we'll go ahead and do it again. And then you can open it up. This is what Tina uses, Tina Bernine, this is what she uses. And so you could use hers. Obviously, when you get to this page, you're going to take her picture out. You literally can just edit it. You enable editing, and then you can take her out and you can put yourself in there. Upload a picture, and that may be for another day, but you can. And then you go over here and if you didn't graduate from the University of Kansas, we should probably take that out. So you would basically put your own little bio in there. But it's a placeholder. Here's one, Google reviews. If you don't have, obviously take hers out and if you have Google reviews, put your own in there. If you don't, let's work on that another day. But again, just go through it's not the most flashy, it's not the most beautiful one I've ever seen, but it's something to start with. And sometimes that's all it takes is something to start with. And you can go through and kind of acclimate yourself with what does a top team presentation looks like. And guys, you'll be surprised. Coach Amber from Bold, her presentation's not what I would think it would be. How about that? It wasn't would you agree, Laura? Did you see it? I don't know if I can log in and see it. If I can get to it quickly, I will. If I can't. Yeah. Let's see. If I can show it to you. And I can share some stuff with you. my Google Drive. And then bold. And then listings. Okay, so this is her listing presentation. This is her and her husband and their team. And then it's just, they work out of Tampa, so they do sell beach houses and stuff. Those aren't just stock photos. That's really but value proposition, their thing is only 6 pages long. Seller's Guide to Showing Time, which we don't use Showing Time anymore. We used to. They must still use it. That's it, guys. That's their listing presentation. Now they do a pre-listing packet, so they do have that, but there's templates everywhere. Here's that fishing one in color. I can share that. And then I don't know if anybody took bold last year. This is Coach Vichay. She works out of Atlanta. So hers is has a different feel to it. High end.
Might not resonate with myself.
Right. Maybe not. So that's why you got to find, but she's,
See, that's important. I had somebody call me and they fired their agent. It's like, well, they only deal with $1 million houses. We're selling a $400,000 house. They don't
Yeah,
care about ours.
they don't care about ours. Why would they care about ours? So how you present yourself is super important. And so maybe those top teams have found kind of being middle of the road with their packet, not too fancy and nice, maybe not super bound, but if you're going to do luxury, yeah, you probably should get something like that. Yeah, you can. Yeah, totally. And there's stock photos and there's things like that yeah, absolutely. The photos in mine were just from the template that I bought. And so any thought, anything that I didn't include or talk about that you like that works well for you? Jake, do you have anything that you include that you really like? Or
Yeah, I mean, the questionnaire is a huge one. And then, yeah, I'm trying to, I like what you said about doing the paperwork first. I usually do that last, versus,
yeah,
going through the house. But, no, I mean,
well, if you
just know on how I'm gonna adjust mine.
and I'm with you on that, because I would always do that first, like, yeah, show me around. Show me around. Oh my gosh, they talk a lot. And it is kind of good to know, and you do build rapport. But if you do the paperwork first, you already know you're going to work together. Now it changes the way we walk around. I'm already going to list this house. I've been in houses all the time. I know what bedrooms look like and bathrooms. And
Texted you what Gene Rivers put according to ChatGPT.
okay, in his pre-listing packet.
That pulled it from one of his books.
Wow.
I'm trying to find it, but it reminded me of the leverage.
Uh-huh.
Because I hadn't thought when you said you get a listing, you want to try to get 3 deals out of that. I hadn't, certainly haven't, but I was thinking about that, and it reminded me of this booklet that now this was fancy and probably expensive, but it might be worth, this might be worth the money, this one. It was a hard, like 3-ring binder that, it wasn't a slide in, like the binder was printed.
Yep. Like branded or, yeah.
Give it to your buyers after they close, and it's, you guys know these things, it's like a home book, like here's where you put your warranty information. You do these
Oh yeah.
Because it's for the lifetime of when they own the home, and so your face is on that binder, because it had a lot of good, pages, records that they would keep, places they would put
Receipts.
Put your closing documents and here, just, so it was like a 3-inch binder with all these pre-select things.
Yeah.
And some other empty places to put stuff. But, I thought that seems like that might be worth the investment as like a gift, because we usually give them a gift.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I didn't know if you had ever seen something like that.
Nanette's done them.
Oh, does she?
Ron's done it.
She'll pay him, say, hey, give me this binder, who's an inspector. I don't know.
Ron Alaba.
Oh.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
So too.
Yes.
On this, and it's in the questionnaire, but I think a very important part that we didn't touch on is the value. Figure out how much they think their house is worth
Yes.
before we go in.
I agree with you. Why is that important, Jake?
500 and they think it's worth 600, we're gonna have a different conversation than if they think it's 500 and 500.
Right.
don't
I
have to
agree with you.
not argue, but don't
Yeah.
have to justify the price. If we all agree it's 500, let's sign.
Yep.
If it's 600, I'm gonna pull out comps and say, hey, I saw it was worth 600. I'm not getting any comps to support that. Can you send me over any comps that you found that
Yeah.
you're using to support your 600? They never find it.
Right. Right.
And
Or if they are, they're not true comps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take your comp.
Yes.
I do too. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. I don't have comps,
And
but
scale of 1 to 10 is great. When they rated an 8 out of 10, and my range is 450 to 500, 10 out of 10 is 500. You want 530, but you rated it an 8. Well,
so I
and
would,
then the next question is what would make it a 10? So, okay, if we make it a 10, our top range is 500, maybe 510. But we have to update your kitchen. Do you guys want to do that? Or do you want to just sell it as it is at that 8 out of 10 and say like 480, 485? Oh, well, I don't want to update the kitchen. So let's just go ahead and do 45 then. Because that's what they told me.
Yeah, the questionnaire I use, and I changed it a little bit, but was the one you sent
Oh, yeah.
2 years ago.
Which
Yeah.
made me feel good because a lot of these questions are on here.
well, that's
All
good.
right.
Yay.
Getting going, like you just say, you're in a comp-sci town, here's what you rate yours, because I remember you walking through that, now you know, you can even show them, here's the one that sold for 530, and, you
Oh, yeah,
know,
I'll pull it up
I
on
would
my
say
iPad.
it's a 10 out of 10, you see, if then they see the difference.
How would you
Hey,
rate that
Elena.
compared to this?
Hello, hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah. Go ahead. What's your question?
I think it kind of goes along with what Jake was talking about, but I'm curious how, if you get the paperwork signed before you walk through the house, how do you have a price set? Does that make sense?
Oh, a
Yeah.
price on there?
Yeah,
Right, because I would think you would need to walk through the house first and see the updates and all of that, and then compare it to the comps in order to set a price for the paperwork.
You could just leave that part blank and go, you know, after we look at the house.
I have a hard time getting people to sign it when I don't have a price on there though. Like, what are we gonna sell it for? Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Sign here.
Yeah.
I like that thought though. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
Because if the upstairs looks great and then the downstairs smells like mold, that's a different price house.
Well, maybe we don't get it completely signed all the way through before we look at the house, but
Maybe we have the paperwork, go over everything like the comps and things like that,
Mhm.
and then have them sign at the end.
right. Yeah, and then maybe it's a matter of just collecting the signatures at the very end.
I see. Okay, yeah, that
Good
makes
question.
sense.
Good question. I'm glad you spoke up. I don't normally, yeah, that's a great question.
Okay, thank you. It's been a great meeting.
Oh, thanks, Elena. We miss you.
I know, I'm hoping to make it in soon.
All right. Like tomorrow for team meeting. All right. Well, any other questions or thoughts on working with sellers and listing presentations and we good? Well, give me one. Give me a question. Give us something.
Amber references things, so if you can day and walk in and they have the key sitting there, so do you have a conversation or is it in the, you know, it's like I know we stated, I mean, I'm gonna need a copy of the key, but do you?
It's in the pre-listing packet that she left ahead of time. That you're gonna need, we're gonna need a key for the lockbox. So in that pre-listing, which if we can get a hold of Jean's or whatever Jake found or what, one of the things would be next steps. You know, I'll need the seller's disclosure filled out. We'll need the key, the utility information, like whatever you ask of them. If they've already done that ahead of time, that's a great sign. That's a great sign. So it is in the it would be in, the only reason that would happen is if it's in a pre-listing, unless somebody's just really motivated and they kind of know how this works and you're going to need a key. But otherwise it'd be because you told them.
So do you have any, like, what are the most common objections, like to signing that day? Because the couple that I've had, they ended up signing but they wanted to like sleep on it, and so I wasn't. And there wasn't a specific objection necessarily, it was just a little, whoa, I gotta find it right now. And maybe that's just the new salesperson, and not knowing how to frame it right.
Well, that's why if you will read the question on that pre-listing questionnaire, yeah, if you feel good about everything, are you ready to fill out the paperwork and sign with me on Thursday when we meet? And it kind of sets the stage. Well, you don't want to give up on them, and you're still going to go anyway, and you're still going to, and then maybe ask them, is there something that you're looking for specifically? I want to make sure I come prepared. I want to make sure I come and bring what you're looking for. Cause I do this a lot. Even if you have listed 2 homes, it's okay. We have done this a lot. Throw the word we in there, and then they're like, oh, there's more than just Stacy. Yeah, we list a lot of homes. And so I want to make sure I hit what's most important to you. And so by doing this, you can find some objections on your questionnaire. Sometimes I've seen, I think the Finns, I don't know if they still do this, but back when I was learning, they shared with me their pre-listing. It was a Google form that they used to send to people ahead of time. And then you can kind of learn some things there about their objections or what their holdup might be. So sometimes, yeah, but
Say they need to sleep on it because I didn't explain anything,
Right.
explain something or address this certain concern. Is there something that you guys are worried about? You said you needed to get this on the market next week.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I did not explain well to you? What are you concerned about? Oh, no, we're not concerned about anything. Are we still on the list next week? Yeah. Well, it'd be very helpful to me if I could go ahead and start working on this tonight, get everything scheduled, because it takes about a week or so for me to get this
I
up and
like
going.
that, because I guess I also project my personality.
yeah, we do. We all do. Right.
Sure. I just,
You feel a little rushed. You feel, yeah.
And if they say that, then I back up. It's not a problem at all. I just want to make sure that you're not waiting on me. I
Yep.
wanna work as fast as I can for you, and I can't start until I get your signature. So
Yeah. yeah.
I never want you to wait on me.
And if they say, well, we were going to interview a couple other agents, or my parents had an agent they just really loved, we wanted to meet with them. Oh, okay. Yeah,
What Ryan says.
it's true.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't yet. Yes. Yes. And they're like, really? You would do that? Yes, I would be happy to call them and let them know that their services are no longer needed.
Especially, I'm gonna ask them as well to see if they have any buyers, so maybe we could still co-op with them on this transaction.
Yeah.
So then that they can still get a piece, they can get paid for selling your house. So there's no hard feelings.
Yeah.
So that kind of helps. They're like, oh, okay, well, they can still get paid if they bring us buyer. That's nice.
I'll say, that's not a problem, my teammate Jacob, he can call that agent.